In this video, we're going to aim at finding a formula to work out the circumference of a circle. Now, the circumference of a circle is exactly the same as the perimeter of a circle. So you can see my diagram of a circumference of a circle here. My circumference is the length going around the outside of the circle, okay, all the way around the outside, exactly the same as the definition of the perimeter, but circumference only applies to a circle. I have some other measurements on here as well. The diameter is a line, a straight line, which goes straight through the centre of the circle, and it touches the outside of the circle on both sides. And my radius is a straight line which starts at the centre and it hits the outside of a circle. Now, previous to this video, I had some paper and I drew some circles of diameters of different lengths. So I took a diameter of 2 centimetres and I worked out the perimeter of my circle using a piece of string, wrapped the string around the circle and then put the string straight against a ruler. And I found that with a 2 centimetre diameter, my perimeter or my circumference of the circle was 6.3 centimetres. I then changed my diameter. With 2.5 centimetre diameter, I had a perimeter or circumference of 7.9, and I did the same for 4 and 6 centimetre diameters. Now, what I'm aiming to do is trying to find a link between the diameter and the perimeter or circumference of the circle. Now, what I'm going to do to try and work out this relationship is I'm going to work out the perimeter divided by the diameter and see what I get. So on a calculator, if I do 6.3 divided by 2, I get 3.15. Okay. If I type in 7.9 divided by 2.5, I get 3.16. Very close. If I have 12.6 divided by 4, I'll get 3.15. And if I do 18.8 divided by 6, I get 3.13. So, looking at these numbers here, I can see they're very, very close to each other. They've both have 3's in the units column, and they both have 1/10. The hundreds differ. Now, if I were to draw and measure a circle completely accurately, what I would find is whenever I do the perimeter divided by the diameter, I should get a number which is 3.142, and it actually carries on. 3.142. Now, we call this number, in maths, we call this number pi. You might have seen that before. Pi is equal to 3.142, and if you use your calculator, you can work out some more digits to pi. What we've seen here then is that the perimeter of my circle, which is called the circumference divided by the diameter makes this value pi, which is 3.142. That's the same thing as saying that the circumference of my circle is equal to pi multiplied by the diameter. Pi multiplied by the diameter. In other words, if I take my diameter, multiply it by 3.142, I'm going to get what my circumference is, or my perimeter. Let's have a look at an example. Let's imagine that I have a radius on a circle, a radius of 8.9 centimetres. And I'm asked to work out what the circumference is. Well, looking at my formula here, I can see that the circumference is equal to pi multiplied by the diameter. But what about the radius? Well, I can see here my radius, because my radius goes from the centre to the outside of the circle, and the diameter goes through the centre and touches both of the outside parts of the circle, that my radius is half the length of the diameter. So if I double my radius, I'm going to get what the diameter is. So what we've seen here is that the circumference of my circle is also equal to pi times 2 lots of the radius. Because if I double my radius, it's the same as having a diameter. Now we write this as the circumference is equal to 2 pi r. I've just changed the order there of the multiplication. So, trying to work out my circumference, well, circumference is equal to 2 multiplied by pi multiplied by 8.9. And using a calculator, I type that in, 2 multiplied by pi, there's a pi button on your calculator, multiplied by 8.9, I found it's 55.92, and I've actually just rounded that to 2 decimal places. In a question, they will say how many decimal places to leave the answer in.
Mary, so let's have a look at this one. So solve x plus 2x equals 12. So what do you think you do first?
Okay, well, I want x on its own, so I would put x equals 12 minus 2x.
Okay, so a lot of the time we want to get x by itself, but what we want to do first is get all of these x's together. So can you see anything we can do with this? Get all these together in one place.
Oh, okay, it's 3x, isn't it?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
3x equals 12. Oh, and so x equals 4.
Brilliant, spot on, well done.